Hello everyone, and welcome to this video where we have an exciting new creation that actually comes with the new power takeoff part that we received recently, and Zainoa was quick to make this modular generator. Now Zainoa is one of my Discord server moderators, and he set out really quickly with the intention of making a system that was using the new part that you can see right here, embedding it onto the UniCon container platform that you see here, and ending up with a system that you can customize, and it can output a lot of electricity. Now this is a generator, and you could see how you can pair up the three main components here. So you got a gas tank, you have the actual cylinder, and then here is the generator and control unit. So you need this at a minimum, and one of these. You don't need the fuel tank because each one of these has fuel already built in. Not a lot, granted. Now, what is super neat is that when paired in sequence like this, but it doesn't have to be in this order, you could have any combination in any which order. This will tell you the number of active units. So if we turn this off, this will read 4. And what's really neat is that if we're running, it will automatically balance itself to make the most out of all the units that are running. And likewise, it'll also balance itself out to make use of ones that are not running. So you can see we're at 250 with 3. If I turn these two on, that shot up to 400, and if we turn on high output, this will skyrocket into the thousands. Now you could turn these off, we could run off one. On high output, we're getting around 600, so not bad. It's actually very, very efficient. Now you can see we have the fuel here. Over here we have the unit with fuel, and it's getting close to being drained, but this is a large unit. It didn't start off full. It actually fits 4,500 liters. This one started off with, I believe, 800. So it's going to run out of juice soon here, but I did want to give you an overall view of the thing, and then what I'm going to do is make some modifications, make it kind of my own, 454 SS it, and it'll be a joint creation with me and Zainoa that I'm going to upload. Here we are in the hangar, and you could see this is what we started off with, 850 liters in this one, and then between all of their little fuel tanks and stuff, over here we had a combined 1200. So obviously not a lot of fuel when you have these massive generators and cylinders, but it is really neat how it works and how you can kind of connect and disconnect them. And you'll see here that this one did have 4,500 liters, and it's an automatically calculating system. So really cool for Zainoa for making it like this. It automatically kind of calculates what's going on. Now he did give me free reign to kind of change this up, make it my own style. So I will be taking a look at that. And also he did tell me that it still is sort of needing work. It's still a little rough. We're going to plug in the torque connector release button. Some of the buttons don't really do anything. For example, the generator hatch. Now back there, these 7 units that you see, these are kind of just a modular example, but these 3 are really what this system consists of. So the fuel tank, the actual cylinders, and then the generator unit or control units. So I'm gonna have to make a logical way of identifying them, sort of making sure you know how to use it, and I'll probably brand it with rat. Now speaking of rat, I do want to make sure that this heavy thing of 4,500 liters can actually be picked up by one of the loaders. Now this is the heaviest loader that I have. That's not like a massive loader. And you can see it's struggling to lift it like this, but if I actually do lift the arm up like that, we can lift it. and it does give us the ability to drive it around. So it still is usable, and we can still pick it up. Granted, you don't want to really slam on the brakes, but it does work. So as long as one of them works, that means the system itself is modular with the rest of the UniCon style of container cargo. One thing worth noting is that it is one block taller than the actual UniCon cargo system, even the XL one. But truthfully, with the amount of tech and stuff shoved into this, it's not really, you have to realize that you can only do so much, and you'll have to kind of move things around or rejig things. And ultimately, if it means the ability to have a cargo system or generator system like this, then it works. Now, funny enough, it does have a maximum height of 8. You can kind of see that we have this edge, and it would actually fit inside some of the creations just because of that. This edge matches that. It would be very, very tight, but we still should see a decent amount of compatibility and ability to transport this thing. Speaking of jam-packed systems, just take a look at all of these calculations and things that this thing has going on. So a lot of various ECUs and microcontrollers and communications, all kinds of stuff. I'm not even going to try to dissect any of it. I'm just going to make some minor changes, but rest assured, Zynoa really put in the effort into making this thing work right. This is actually the generator unit that Zynoa made, and you can see here we have the open hatch light. So this is a modular generator, well, using a modular motor that he made, and this kind of served as the basis for this one as well. You could see the shape kind of matches. This one is a bit more filled out, but it even is the same height. Now, this style and this brand, the Rat brand, of course, I will duplicate it in this new version. So for us to get started, what I'm going to do is just clear away all these back ones, because now I'm going to work on kind of the forward ones, and I don't want to have the outdated versions. So now that we have these, just drag them up for easy reach right in here, and so they're all kind of close by. I will dull out the colors. I'm just going to make it all this exact same shade of gray for starting point, and while that does look boring in general, I will adjust the colors. I just want to start off with uniformity. And one thing that Arcades actually told me to do was to remove these, which were purely visual, and upgrade them just to have, well, just to be regular blocks. That prevents spare bodies from being formed. So this was kind of my version 2 of the UniCon system. And what also came with version 2 that I could see that isn't here is the side panels. So the side panels here and here are actually able to control the unit. So if you're trying to slide it in and whatnot, you have easy access. What this is going to allow me to do is actually put a brand new system. If you haven't seen this, this was developed by Arcades, and what we're going to be able to do with it is, depending on when you press the button where, you actually first of all can apply it and see it on the sides what is selected. And not only that, it allows you to really visually see which way you're pushing it with these arrows. So main track, perpendicular, perpendicular, main track. What a nice system. So you can see here, you could turn it on, turn it off on either of the sides, and you can release the H4 bottom, which turns on these white lights. It also enables the connectors, or the parachute, sorry, and you can go and release all the directions. So the only one that's missing is one on the front here, but that's because we have currently an open door. Now that can change. We could put the other thing back, or I can make this button the one to disconnect the torque connector. I went ahead and changed some of these information nodes just so it reads a little bit more clear, I think a little less shorthand. And one thing I did note is that there are a lot of microcontrollers here, and I was wondering what is going on, because there's actually not anything connected to most of them. So I actually figured it out. By having these additional large microcontrollers, you can actually have a larger capacity in the tank. So we were at 4,400 previously, whereas if I do this, you actually get maxed out at 2,700. So we lost over 1,000 liters just in that. And on the optimization front, the nice thing is that actually allows you to have continuous bodies, whereas if you put triangles, sometimes you don't end up having the ability to have continuous bodies. Quite happy with how the fuel unit turned out, so I do have a name for it. I'm probably going to use ModGen, and the fact is that I wanted each of them to have a label so they can easily be identified for those of you that are new to the system. The coloring kind of is consistent throughout. It seems to be working and looking pretty nice. So we'll move on to these. For this one, the Gen Active button, I'm actually going to move down here most likely so I can keep that there. And this can have its little branding right there, and I'll have to go through and kind of adjust some of these things. So this one doesn't have a label, for example, and just maybe change some of the descriptors. Instead of diesel, what I did is I wrote fuel and then in brackets diesel, so I'm going to kind of match that. We'll see where if this one has a fuel tank. I guess not. So this is just kind of the engine unit, whereas this one does have a small fuel tank, so I will get them going quite similar here. One thing I was struggling with is naming this one, because this one said generator active, but technically this isn't a generator, this is just an engine unit. So what I'm going to do is, where this one's called, the very first one was called a fuel unit, this one is going to call an engine unit, and here we can say active, or engine unit active. And that way, if you turn it off, then that engine will no longer be working with the rest of the generator. It's starting to look quite clean, so I did put this that turns on when that's on. These ones, the light only turns on when the unit is active itself. These ones turn on automatically with that one. And there we are, chugging along with 2 motor units. I think I just have to do a little bit of a check on what is going on here with our various dials. You can see this is fine. It didn't really add the other one. It should be close to 8,000 liters with both of these attached. I do think that interesting, it's not transferring anything. Interesting. If I turn on this, does it start to transfer? No. Maybe it's an automatic thing. I'll have to do a little bit more testing. Oh yeah, it does work automatically. You see here, I emptied out this one and I kept this one full, and it's bypassing that one altogether. Now the calculator isn't working, so it's showing that there's very little fuel when in fact we're getting it from this unit here. There we have it. It's cleaned up. Thank you to Zynoa for allowing me to kind of make this my own style. Really appreciate it, and truthfully, it's the first power takeoff generator that I've seen in the game. Maybe there are others, obviously, that I'm not aware of, but as far as my knowledge is concerned, we really did kind of hit something that's quite new here. So there are some minor bugs that will be taken care of and kind of be looked at, but the overall thing is here. Of course, the Discord server boosters and YouTube members will get first access to it. They are the supporters. They give me extra support and loving, and I return the favor to them, so they're going to enjoy this creation right after this video. But to each and every one of you, thank you for watching, thank you for participating, thank you for joining the community, for collaborating, for making this so much fun and so awesome. I really thank each and every one of you, and hopefully you'll be enjoying this when it comes out. So until next time, happy Stormworksing, everyone.